like 7, the fight's alive. Inner circles here, where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, come on, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Inner Circle podcast, where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a Circle podcast, where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Inner Circle podcast. Today is Wednesday, November 19th. It's Business Wednesday, our regular business segment. I'm your host, Abe Kamara. I'm here with my usual co-host, Miss B. Miss B, welcome to the show.
Yes, everyone, thank you. It's your girl, Miss B. Glad to be on here today.
Okay. Well, folks, tonight the topic is shutdown. The shutdown is over, but it's already back to business as usual. So, as you all know, the government reopened November 12th when the politicians, the politicals in Washington agreed that it was time for the government to reopen, and so they passed a bill for the government to reopen. It came to an agreement, and the government reopened uh, on November 12th. And so now that the government has been reopened after the longest shutdown in U.S. history, 43 days to be exact, 43 days total, are we back to business as usual? Is the shutdown still affecting normal business, small businesses, individuals, the SNAP benefits, federal employees and all of those things? So that's the topic tonight. Obviously, when the shutdown first happened, we had a whole segment on it, about experience segment. But tonight we are taking it from the business angle, what impact it had on businesses, especially the small businesses, things like that. So you can join the conversation, put a comment in the chat. Also follow us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, Apple Podcast, Spotify, everywhere. So join the conversation tonight. So Miss B, take it away.
I believe her name is what's the African American lady on MSNBC? I believe Reed. Last name is Reed.
I don't watch MSNBC.
But anyway, I was listening to her on the Angela Yee show as I was going to work this morning.
Mm-hmm.
She was really breaking down the shutdown, right? And what was really being discussed. And ultimately, the reason why we were in this shutdown were two things. One, of course, Republicans wanted to continue to give the 80% tax break, I guess, to the wealthy, which have allowed them, or the 17, forgive me if my numbers are off, but basically we were being held hostage because Republicans wanted to continue to give the uber mega rich folks this extravagant tax break. I think that's been in place since the Obama administration. And the tax break was really his negotiation in order to get the Obamacare to pass. this negotiation he made, but it was temporary. It wasn't to last, forever. And what the Republicans were trying to do this term was to make that permanent. Yes. And in making that permanent, they wanted to leverage the healthcare plan. And so, and they wanted to not continue to fund the healthcare plan, which unfortunately, when the plan was passed, the budget and the bill was not something that was permanent. So what they've been doing is every budget cycle, they've just been renewing, and not making it permanent and putting it in place. And so Republicans said they were not going to provide food stamps to 42 million people, held that hostage, even though there was money there. It did not even have to happen. Held us hostage, because they wanted to make permanent the budget for the major tax breaks, not the ones he talked about for us who work in the 9 to 5, but the major tax breaks that folks like Jeff Bezos and them have enjoyed, for the last couple decades here, right? And allow them to become so uberly rich, which is allowing, what's his name, Musk, to experience becoming a trillionaire in our lifetime, right? And so that's why ultimately the shutdown was happening. And there was more she broke down. I'm gonna listen to her and really get a deeper understanding on how is it that our government were able to leverage not feeding 42 million people. And people need to understand, and I think the data too was not really broken down to people. When we say 42 million, 15 million of that is children, right? And so 15 million of that is children. They're counting the kids in these households in those numbers, right? It's not 42 million lazy adults that don't want to work that are on food stamps. It's 42 million adults and children combined, and seniors who are in those numbers. And of that 42 million, let's note that 15 million of that are kids that were on the program, that were receiving those benefits to be fed, right? And some of those households are two working parents, right? So she really brought some of that data and that perspective, which I think the average American citizen was not really understanding during the shutdown. So yes, the shutdown is over, but some things have been temporarily passed again, and will have to come up for discussion in January 30th. So it's not business as usual. And another thing I want to uplift is that people are being made to reapply. They're being made, so it didn't just 42 million and now you get your benefits that you were losing. You're being made to reapply, because again, this administration is giving us this perspective that people are being fraudulent, that are on it. People are not working because they can be on this thing. So they're making people to reapply, which they'll find that people really need these supplemental services, which that's what they are. They're supplemental services as far as the food stamps, right? You don't automatically qualify unless you're eligible, unless you really, really need it. And it's not somewhere people were being fraudulent or taking money that they didn't need, right? People who are on it are literally qualifying for it. And so it's not back to business as usual because the shutdown is over, right? We need to understand what really happened and what really got passed. But
Okay, well, folks, I think
burning
well,
burning inside.
so that is our business segment. But I think my co-host here want to jump into politics. So maybe tonight
Business is politics.
we'll take the political angle.
Economic inclusion is politics.
Oh yeah, definitely. Right? That's what I'm saying. So tonight we'll take the political angle. First of all, I know you say you listen to MSBC, but I think MSNBC. I think that's the reason why they are burning as a fake news channel. But here's the thing, though. I the shutdown wasn't caused by Republicans. You know what I mean? And
It
stuff like that.
was.
That's
It
wait,
was.
wait. The shutdown wasn't caused by Republicans. So October 1st of every year, right? October 1st of every year, that's when the new fiscal year for the federal government starts. right? They couldn't agree on a budget to fund to fund a government. Both Republican and Democrat could not agree, including the president, right? The White House could not agree on the budget to fund the federal government. So what the Republicans said, okay, for fiscal year 2025, the same amount that was approved, which is the call of CR, or clean resolution, CR, meaning like let's fund the government at the 2025 fiscal year level, wherein because the Democrat demand was they should there, there are about 20 or 23 million folks that are receiving subsidies for Obamacare or the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. You
Yes.
guys, yeah, you guys during the 2020 COVID, since the whole Obamacare was passed, okay, it's been to me, I used to work in the insurance industry. It's been a disaster. Quite frankly, right? It has, increased healthcare costs. Insurance company have benefited a lot from it, and it has caused all kinds of problems to the healthcare system in terms of insurance, payers, and providers. But that's not an issue, right? So during the COVID, the Biden administration decided, right, that they should because insurance premiums are getting expensive. That's one of the topic. There's a topic even with insurance that we have
What
come up.
they
Let me just
wanted
finish
to
my thought
pass,
process. Let me just finish my
when
thought
you
process. Let me just
please
finish my
talk
thought
about
process.
expensive in perspective,
Wait,
because
let me just
without it, people
let
were
me just
going from paying $600 a month to
for
$2,600 a month.
okay. Can you wait
If
though?
it
Can
had
you
been canceled,
Here's the thing, though, right? So in 2020, there was this subsidies, right, that was attached to the Obamacare that folks that were getting their insurance through the Affordable Care Act, right, through the state exchanges or the federal exchanges, were now given subsidies.
Mhm.
Subsidies, it's about I think $300 billion annually. Folks, just look at that figure. It's our high-earned tax dollars going to 23 million people. The federal government is subsidizing about 23 million people to buy healthcare, to buy Obamacare on the various exchanges. Obviously, some of those folks are small businesses, right, and things like that. But the federal government should not be subsidizing folks, right, to get health insurance. To me personally, I would say
I
that the federal
agree.
government should not be, yeah,
Why
the
should we
federal
have to
government should not be in
subsidize
our
people?
business. Wait,
Why do
wait,
we have to subsidize
wait,
people?
wait. The federal government should not be in such a business. So that's what they said. So the Republicans said, look, we want the whole Obamacare or the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, is a disaster. If you guys want to fix it, if you guys want a solution, let us come to the table and negotiate and find a solution to it. The Democrats said, no, you should extend the ACA subsidies permanently, or else we are going to shut down the government. And that was the that's the sticking point. Right, that was the sticking point. And so guess what? They shut down the government. The Republicans said, okay, you know what? If you can agree to reopen the government, we're not going to what? There can be no negotiation, and that's how come the shutdown lasted for 43 days. Obviously, yeah, there were. Was there impact? Yes. You had up to 600,000 federal employees that were furloughed, right? You also had like 730,000 individuals, right, that were compared to work, including air traffic controllers folks that were working without pay. So even like small businesses could not access loan through the SBA. So there was so many impact. Yeah, the 43 million, 42 or 43 million SNAP beneficiaries.
Why do you
You
ignore
talk
the
about.
fact we were
Uh-huh.
discussing a tax
It had nothing to do with
benefit?
tax break. It had
It
nothing to do with tax
did.
break.
It did. It
It has
had,
nothing. I think
her name is Joy Reid. Shout
MSNBC
out to
host.
Joy Reid.
There's like
She's no
a
longer on MSNBC. Her name is Joy Reid, and I forgot what other she used to be on MSNBC, but she's no longer
okay,
with
yeah,
them.
but she gave you false information. It was
She
never
was
about tax
not
break.
giving false information. You Republicans are always, when it's not in your favor, you always want to denounce what is real information.
No,
The tax
it
break
isn't.
was a major part of the conversation. Was it or was it not? Do you
It
deny
wasn't.
that?
It wasn't. It was all about subsidies. It was all about Obamacare subsidies. 23 million
Wow,
Americans.
Abraham.
Yes,
The
yes.
Republican
Nope.
not wanting to agree to the budget was not solely just about, it was, you guys have
It
your
was all
things.
about a
First of all,
Democrat wanting to extend the
Republican had their
ACA
things they
subsidies.
wanted to pass. Democrat had their things they wanted to pass. That is always going to be the conversation. What do we want? What do you want? And where do we find the compromise? So you're trying to say the Republicans didn't want anything. They were okay with everything, and
that's the thing.
therefore,
They were
because
saying,
the Democrats were the only ones that wanted something, we had a shutdown.
oh yeah, the government. I mean, a Democrat was the one that put a gun, I mean, to the federal government head to say, hey, yeah, if you can give us ACA subsidies, if you cannot,
Do you hear
give
yourself?
us
Do you hear
Obamacare
yourself?
subsidies, right? We are going to shut down the government. But here's the thing, though, right? And what the Republican was saying is like, you know what? Give us, let us, we are open for negotiation. We are open to negotiation, but let us pass a clean CR, okay, continuing resolution until, right, at like, let us fund the government through November or December or January or whatever, right, through a clean resolution or CR, okay, continuing resolution until we can negotiate and come to an agreement on what healthcare. I mean, the reality is, right, healthcare cost is getting expensive everywhere in this country. Just that's a topic. I
Abraham,
mean, that's a
at the
topic
end
that we
of the
have to.
day,
Wow.
at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
the bill that was signed in July of 2025 has several provisions that primarily or significantly benefit wealthy individuals and businesses.
Oh, but we have talked
These
about the
tax
big.
breaks are
We have
mainly
talked about the big.
extensions and
Mhm.
expansions of the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act provisions that were set to expire. So you are telling me that it was not about that. It was about that.
No, it wasn't, because the bill, the big beautiful bill that you and I had a segment on days ago on this platform, that bill was signed into law in July. It had nothing to do with funding of government. I mean, funding the government and stuff. Those things were what it's meant. I mean, if you read it, you and I went through the big beautiful bill. From the layman, this like perspectives. There are a lot of benefits, tax incentives in there for what, for businesses, for individuals. What I mean, you guys like to verify rich people. Oh, the wealthy, the wealthy, the wealthy.
Not
Come
in
on.
the magnitude in which the uber rich will continue to become
Oh,
rich.
Miss B.
Abraham.
It's like the thing you guys
And
do,
at the end of the
like to
day, even though
demonize
it was
wealth.
signed,
You like to demonize wealth. That's not right.
I'm not
If
demonizing
if I
wealth.
have the opportunity like Elon Musk not to pay my taxes and to get tax breaks, I would take it any day. And I don't know who in this world wouldn't
No
take
one
that.
is saying, but we're not, the argument is not that shouldn't happen.
Okay.
We're not saying it shouldn't
What's the
happen.
argument? I
We're
mean, what's the
saying who it
argument?
happens for is disproportionate to the masses. Who it happens for is drastically disproportionate to the masses. That's what we're talking about, Abraham. The idea that somebody who doesn't need it is going to continue
What do
to
you
be
mean someone who doesn't
benefiting
need it?
from
These
it.
are job creators. These folks are creating jobs, thousands, millions of jobs. And you said it don't. It's like the reason.
Why can't we give those same incentives and breaks to the folks that really need it at the level, at the equal rate in which we're giving it
What are they?
to
Okay,
the
let's say
job
what kind of
creator?
incentives? I mean, what kind of
I need
incentives
to
and breaks are you
be
going to
able to
give
go
them?
and work that job, right? I need to go and so give me that incentive to be able to go and work that job in which is
But you're
being
not a
paid.
job creator, though. You're not a job creator. This thing is for folks. These incentives and
The
these
job creator
benefits,
still
these
needs me, the job
these
worker. The
incentives,
job
these
creator still needs
incentives
me,
and
the
these
job
breaks.
worker.
Hey,
The
bro.
job creator still needs me, the job worker, and me, the job worker, to say that although they have created a job, nobody's making sure that job is paying me a livable wages. And the little wages that I am getting, you're taxing it up the wazoo. How much of it really comes home to me? And then you're saying, you know what? We recognize that you need help, but the reality is we don't want to give it to you in the form of subsidies. Because that's not the business we're here for. But you giving the job creator subsidies is
To be able to create more jobs, to help you,
justified. No.
to give you jobs.
The job creator being justified that they're creating a job is not enough to be giving them the level of subsidies that you want to continue to
What do you
give
mean
them.
level
But
of
not
subsidy?
me, who needs to work the job. They need me to work the job. They need me to spend money at the company that has the job, right? And then they need me to pay for all the common areas that exist in my community. And they need me to carry the budget for the city in which the very company is sitting in and creating the job. So besides creating the job, they have no other expectation of them, no other justification.
What do you mean you
for
have
the
no
subsidies.
expectation? What do you mean you have no
Businesses don't have to pay taxes. The owner don't have to pay taxes. And the very property that their business is on, they ask for the land to be free or cheap, and they don't want to pay the full taxes on the value of the land. So you're giving them all these subsidies in the name of giving me a job that's not going to give me the health benefits that's free. a job that's not going to give me the wages that are livable for me to pay my bills. But yet we want to continue to provide them subsidies because they do get subsidies. Their subsidies look different from mine. That's the only difference. Companies get subsidies. Their subsidies look different from mine. And the
They
same
are giving
government, you said
subsidies to
government is
what?
not
To
in the
help
business
create
of giving
to
subsidies.
help
So
create
the
jobs.
same
What?
government that gives them subsidies should not give me subsidies. Oh, that's not the business we're here for. But you're here to give the company, the corporation subsidies.
To create jobs.
No, your
To
first
create jobs.
responsibility is not to the
To create
corporation to
jobs.
create jobs. Your
If
first
they give you,
responsibility
it's
is
like
to your
you,
citizens
you
to make sure that they're living healthy, productive lives. That's your citizen. So as you're leveraging these subsidies to give to these corporations to help make your citizens' lives more comfortable and healthy, leverage it up the wazoo to make sure that I'm getting free healthcare. All employers should provide free healthcare.
what?
And
I
I'm
mean,
getting
what is
livable
that? You guys
wages.
want to turn
Yes,
us into a socialist,
because what happens when they do all that?
socialist
You don't
society?
have Elon Musk about to be worth trillionaires. That's the only thing. That's the only loss we're gonna have. We won't have Elon Musk being worth trillions and trillions of dollars. I feel that's a win-win situation.
There's not. I mean, if you want to restrict wealth,
What
as I said,
value
right?
is it for him to be worth that much money?
The
What
problem you
value?
guys always have,
What
it
value
doesn't
does that
work.
bring to your
Socialism hasn't worked
population of
anywhere in this
377
socialism.
million people? What
Socialism
value does
and
that bring?
wait, I mean, socialism and the so-called equal distribution of wealth hasn't worked anywhere and can never work.
It
Okay,
has worked. Why we don't want to uplift
where,
where it has worked?
where,
Australia,
where?
a lot of these economies.
Oh, come on,
Yes,
man. Come on,
Abraham,
come
why you
on.
act like America is the only country with a thriving economy?
Come on. Come on,
Why do
don't
we
go
act
there.
like
Don't
that?
go
You have countries
there. Hey,
that have less money that provide universal health care and they're thriving. You have countries that have less money that provide universal education and they're thriving, where their residents go to college for free and they're thriving. Why is it that we only, capitalism is like communism in a way, because it
no,
only
it's
wants to
not.
be the only thing that's successful. We demonize everything else so we can look successful. And we're showing time and time again, we're showing we're not successful, but we don't want to recognize that. If capitalism only works for a small majority, how is that success? It works for a small majority.
How does it
And
work for a small majority? How does it work for a small majority?
socialism is
Make
working for
it
a
make sense to
vast
me.
majority
Make it
in
make
other
sense to me.
countries.
How can you sit here, right, in the richest country in the world with millions
And
of
with
millions of people?
1% of the population here holds most of that wealth. So how is that working for a good majority of us?
Ms. B is working.
1% of
Is working.
377 million people. One measly percent, which that percentage has probably decreased since pandemic. 1% of 377 million people has been successful with capitalism working for them.
It's not
And
only
the
one
rest of
percent. I
us are
mean,
just
like
left to hope and wish and
millions
pray.
of
Eventually,
millions,
one day when I get in that position,
millions of
I can
millions,
benefit from it too.
millions of people have benefited and continue to benefit from what? From capitalism, right? Don't sit here and demonize capitalism
1% of all the wealth. And honestly, if you look at it, it's not even 1%
and
of the
demonize
wealth
wealth.
in this
Okay.
country. It's 1% of the world's wealth is sitting in. I mean, if you look at the percentage of the whole wide world wealth, it's sitting in 1% of the people here. The top 5 wealthiest people in the world. Top 5 wealthiest people, when you add all their billions together, I don't know how many trillions that equates to, are sitting here in America, in this one country.
Okay, what's your point? We're on a business segment. What's your point?
We are on the business segment,
What's your
and I
point?
want to say
What's
that
your point?
business owners, my
Uh-huh.
micro business owners, you
Mhm.
need to get involved more politically. You cannot sit there and be hoping and wishing and praying that eventually, when you get to where you're not getting there anytime soon, I'm sorry to say that, but you cannot be resting on the hopes and prayers that when you get there, then you get to enjoy what they are benefiting, because they are causing the gap to widen so much. The American dream is only but a dream. It is only but a dream that, people, homeowners, I'm sorry to say it, somebody who is a property owner, that we are not looking at becoming equity rich anymore. You have a lot of people who are, like I said the last time, who are, their homes are in water. like their home is costing them more than it's even worth, right? And the percentage continues to drop. It's not a large percentage, but it's a percentage of dropping that's been happening that has not happened before historically. You know, just like our president like to say, things are happening that had never happened before.
Okay, so first of all, I mean, it's like, do we live on many days, many times on this show, even last night of our, soft life, high life segment, on many times on this platform, we have said we live in an inflationary environment. But how did the inflation come about? During COVID, the same thing we're talking about the
Our
subsidy.
forefathers created inflation,
During COVID,
capitalism,
during COVID, you guys went and flooded flooded the economy, flooded the country with with cash that folks did not need. Literally that folks did not need. It flooded the whole country with cash that folks did not need.
that
Well,
folks did not need. Are you
all
hearing
kinds of
yourself?
subsidies.
We
Okay,
literally
and then
decreased
guess what? What
We
that did?
literally
What
decreased
that did?
famine for the
What
first
that
time.
did?
We
What
literally
that
decreased
did?
poverty for the
It
first
created
time. So
nine
how
percent
is it we
inflation
flooded
in
the
this
economy
country.
with cash
It
that
created
people did
nine
not
percent
need?
inflation in this country. Who did that inflation impact? The ordinary folks
Who
that you see
creates
now here
inflation? Is the same rich
trying
people that
to
sits in a
trying
room and
to
decide
let's say
inflation.
defend.
This made up arbitrary thing, Abraham. It's such a made up arbitrary thing.
But when you go to the
We're
grocery
not from
store,
Mars.
when you go to
No
the
aliens
grocery
came
store,
and
it's
created
arbitrary.
inflation.
Are you telling me
Inflation
when
is
you
an
go?
arm that rich and wealthy exercise. They exercise that arm to control the market in which cash is flowing to this economy. That's all it
Whoa.
is. It's a made up arbitrary thing. You have to think about
So
it.
when you go to
We as human
when
beings
you go to the
come
grocery
together,
store
and
to
not
shop
all of
with,
us, because
when you go to the grocery
I was
store
not
to
a
shop
part of
with,
creating
that's
inflation.
that's
And what's the
arbitrary.
other one?
If you go to the
I didn't create inflation. I didn't create the Great Depression. I didn't create no civil war. I was not a part of the civil wars. I was not a part of World War I, World War II. And now, God forbid, would not be a part of World War III. We as human beings, humanity is creating these things. Inflation is this arbitrary arm, this fake arm. Just as we talk about the invisible arm. This is actually taught in economics, the invisible arm. Come on now, we human beings. Why are we talking about the invisible arm?
man. It's like
Inflation is something that the uber rich, the powers that be, leverage to stop money from flowing into the economy. To say, and it's really just to check how many more rich people is being created. It's really to check and say, well, where is this money really going? And who is it getting into? Whose hands is it getting into? And God forbid we increase the wealth for other communities of color and close this gap, because this gap can really be closed like yesterday. The wealth gap that exists in this country can really be closed like yesterday. Why we want to say, oh, we can't do it because we're going to have inflation. And the audacity that the average citizen sits here and agree with this definition and understanding of why we can't. So why I don't have nothing to spend my money on. God knows I'm going to keep it where? In the bank. The same bank. The bank has no problem with having our money in there because they can do what with it? Create loans. That's the worst case scenario can happen with inflation, is that we have too much money in the economy because we don't have the supply in which to spend with this money that my money is demanding to have access to supplies. Let me wait. Or maybe now we have more players on the market. That's what can happen too, to answer to that demand. So instead of just having 50 stores to build these homes, now we have opportunity to create more stores or more businesses to be able to provide the supply that is missing in the market. All of this is arbitrary. We create all of this stuff, Abraham, in the day. What I don't like is that we're doing this at the livelihood of people. We're doing this at the livelihood of people. We sat here, a bunch of people who continue to get paid and made money, decided that, and businesses have been lost. Restaurants that I know that are Black owned have had to shut down. They're gone out of business in these 40 something days of the shutdown. So that's why I said, is it back to business as usual? We're not recognizing, are we making whole the losses that we gained? that occurred during the shutdown. Are we going to go make it right for those business owners that were not able to stay afloat the last 41 days? Are we going to go and make it right for those businesses that have had to close and shut down? Our businesses, are we going to go and make it right and make them whole?
Okay, are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
I just wanted to be done with writing. First of all, in my co-host, I'm not going to own you, disown you, right? It's a business segment, but it's a political segment tonight because business and politics mix, obviously. But to sit here and say, look, every decision or any action or inaction has consequences, right? What happened with the government shutdown? It was not, I mean, it's like Peterson and I mean, we had a segment here when the government first shut down. I said, look, the political actors should get their act together and they shouldn't. I, it's like, we're trying to make sense of the whole government shutdown. We give some history, what leads to government shutdown, how government shutdown come about and things like that. And it was says like it's not really necessary, right? It's like, I mean, politicians at all times should be able to agree, right? I mean, because at the end of the day, when the government shut down, right? Number one, because this was the longest shutdown, the economic output, right? The economy lost about $14 billion, right? So a lot of impact. I mean, we are talking about SNAP, jobs being lost, businesses, as you mentioned, being lost, right? So it's never a good thing for the government to shut down. But politicians being who they are, right? As I said, the whole thing came about because of what Obamacare subsidies. That's the fact of the matter. Was it necessary to hold the entire government hostage because of that? Okay. No, I don't think so. You could still what? I mean, negotiate and come to because quite frankly, right, whether I have insurance or not, look, the insurance model in America we all know is broken. If you own health insurance, I mean if you own health insurance, either to your employer or whatever, it's broken, right? It's expensive. But is it because but why is it expensive? Because number one, the cost of care is expensive. You go to the hospital, you and I had a discussion on that the last time. You go to the hospital, they're saying you crazy bills. you know so the system is broken. Especially healthcare, right? It's one of the major healthcare provider here for low income folks has gone out of business. We are talking about that tomorrow. UK
Yeah,
has gone
there
bankrupt.
you go. Exactly.
Okay, UK has gone bankrupt. And there are a lot of private insurance companies around the country like that are going under because of the cost of healthcare. Folks cannot afford it.
So
That's
who's
that.
determining the cost?
Oh, the insurance companies.
So the same insurance companies that are going out of business are determining the cost. So how are they going out of business?
Well, like, okay, for UK, which of course, so we'll talk about that in depth tomorrow. But just for UK basically will rely on Medicaid and Medicare beneficiaries, right? And Medicaid, I see is basically administered by the state, right? It's a state, kind of a state federal, and then Medicare 100% federal program. But UK was kind of like the administrator, right? The government contracting basically. But as the government is cutting down costs, and things like that, right? And then the cost of care is getting very, very expensive. There's no way. And then the other thing about health insurance, right, is like they want healthy people to sign up for their for their products. But when it comes to Medicare, most of those that are on those, either for Medicare it's basically older folks. Medicaid is all these obese people. Sorry for
So capitalism is a holistic circle of a mess. At the end of the day, it works if it's working one thing here, then it's harming something else. Because what you just
capitalism is not a
explained
mess.
was
Capitalism is the best market
it's
system in
one
the world ever.
holistic circle of a mess. Because what you just explained, and you got quiet in parts and parcels of it, is that
no, I didn't get quiet.
On one hand, UCare gets paid through Medicare and Medicaid.
Yep.
Who are the recipients of Medicare and Medicaid?
Medicare, older folks. Medicare is low income folks, sick people.
Okay. And so if I'm in the business of providing insurance to those two groups, and those people do not have the money, Whose fault is it that these people don't have the money to keep me, you care the business in business?
What do you mean whose fault? I mean, is it you guys all like to play a blame game? Whose fault? What do you mean whose fault?
Abraham, you
Whose fault?
have businesses that rely on low income people to keep them in business. And low income
Okay.
people are relying on these entities because they are low income. So how do we get rid of low income people? Okay, Abraham, in your capitalist society, how do we get rid of low income people? What is the solution there in your capitalist?
No one is getting rid of them. Go get a job. Go. Is that what like the?
So I get a
Mm-hmm,
job.
mm-hmm.
I have my job, but I still need the low income service because low is saying what? It didn't say no income. We said low income. We said low income. So
Mm.
again, how do you problem solve your low income?
Well, I mean, what do you mean? How do you problem solve it? It's like okay. I would say the way you problem solve the number one, okay, because most of those you find out on Medicaid, number one, Medicaid, folks who say, hey, because of certain situation, they cannot find a job, or they are not able to work, or they are not able to get enough hours. So, in order for them to get health care, right, is the utilize the Medicaid program or to get a health care because they cannot afford to buy private insurance. So they go to Medicaid,
So why
which the
can't they
government is
afford the
subsidizing. The
private
government is already
insurance,
subsidizing
Abraham?
it.
You
What?
just told me we
Mhm.
subsidize Tesla, but yet let's just say
To
Tesla's
create
the only
jobs.
company
To
here. We
create
have the
jobs.
American government. Tesla's the
To,
only company. We
to create
subsidize
jobs.
Tesla.
To
Tesla's
create
create
jobs.
the job.
Yeah.
Why isn't it that Tesla employees can't afford to go and buy and pay for
No, no, no,
private
no, no,
insurance?
no. Tesla employees can't. I mean, first of all, if you are employee of any major company in this country, you get your health care through your employer. How do you get your health
Yet
care, Miss
it is
B?
not free. It is not free.
Oh yeah, I
It is
mean it's like
expensive because
why the whole idea of free? Why
and
free? You
it's
talking
not
free?
cheap.
Why free?
It but you're saying I'm getting my health care through my employer, which
Yeah.
honestly, if you ask most people who are getting it through their employer, could I go to the state and get it? Would I prefer the state or my employer? And people would say they're statewide because of cost. Having health care through my employer
You and because taxpayer, you and I are what hard working taxpayer are subsidizing those programs.
and you don't want to address the root cause of us needing to subsidize
So
those
what's the
programs
root
are the
cause?
very same corporations
What's the
that we
root
are
cause?
subsidizing that is not
No, no,
paying
no.
people the
No, 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 that's
livable
not the root
wages
cause.
they need to afford to pay for the health care that they're getting through their company. Their company health care is charging them $250 sometimes just for themselves every 2 weeks. $500 a month is coming out of people's budgets to pay for the health care. That budget, that cost does not factor in the fact that that income is going to leave the home. I mean, go leave the company, come to me, and now I have to pay for all the other bills that I'm paying that I have to pay for with that income. Nowhere did we, when we calculate the cost that insurance is going to cost that employee, nowhere did we calculate, at least when you go buy the house, they're going to calculate your debt to income ratio, right? The Medicare cost did not calculate my debt to income ratio. It just knows that's how much it's going to cost, plain blank. So it's unfair right there. Yes, my employer is offering me a product. Whether I can afford the product or not, nobody cares. I am
So how can you not,
forced.
I mean
I
how
have
can you not
nowhere else to go but to take that
if you
product.
how can you not afford it to make it make sense to me if you can if you are working and your employer is first of all your employer is subsidizing your health insurance, right? I mean the employer pay part of it and you pay part of it, right? And I mean the employer even pay more of it, right? The problem is not from your employer. The problem
As
is
an
from the
employer,
insurance
I
company.
know there are people.
Hmm.
This is what people do. They figure out, they say, okay, your income, honey, and my income. Then they look at, okay, who has the better benefits as far as the cost for us? Is
Okay.
it is it going to be cheaper for us to be with your benefits or my benefits? These are the conversations that people are having. And neither one of the benefits, again, even though my employer may be paying for some, they don't pay enough that makes it affordable to us still, Abraham. Sometimes people go and get an extra job just so they can
If your employer,
compensate for that
the
money
employer,
that
your
they're
employer
taking out of
pay.
their paycheck to cover that medical. And even with my employer paying some, I'm still paying copay. And that insurance only covers up. I still have a deductible. There's still stuff that I'm covering, even with my employer providing me the health care, which does not equate to the subsidies my government is giving that employer to be able to provide me that job that comes with that expensive health care. My government, the subsidies that businesses are getting do not equivalent to what they are going to cover for me to be able to not be considered low income anymore. We didn't say no income, because there's going to be people with no income. There's lazy people everywhere. There's nothing you can do about the lazy people. What I'm addressing is the fact that why in a capitalist society that it works very well, is brilliant, and is successful, do we have low income people? Address your low income people problem and then tell me how successful you guys are.
So how
Then
do you,
brag about
okay, how
something.
do you, as a socialist and as a leftist, how do you want to
Why
address
is
your
me
low
wanting
income?
people to make enough money to take care of themselves want you to call me a socialist? I want to live in a capitalist society where I don't have low income people. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? You laugh. It's very doable. We have the economics and the professionals that say it's very doable to
Okay, how's
provide
it do?
people
Okay,
livable
how's it do?
wages.
I mean, how's it doable?
But we're choosing not to.
How is it doable? Someone, you offer someone a job, the person doesn't want to work,
No,
right?
it's not
They
about
don't
our
want to
person.
work.
You're talking about the
And so how
lazy
is it
people.
doable?
The majority of the people in this country are not lazy. They're
No, no
working.
one's talking for me. I'm not talking for the point of listeners.
You keep saying people don't want to work. It's not as
Yeah.
if people don't want to know. I said people are not people are working and getting low income wages. They're working and getting low income wages. They're working and still living under the poverty guidelines. Why do we even have poverty guidelines? If you don't care for people to not be in poverty, why are you tracking it? Again, we're utilizing data that is bad to continue to do bad. It's a way for me to track, even though I'm tracking how bad people are doing, low income people, I'm tracking how many people are on subsidies. It's a way for me to contain and control that people will continue to be having low income. People will continue to be needing subsidies. And I can leverage that and I can hold it over their head. And
So your
then I can
accusation
say,
here tonight, I mean, like every low income or folks that are not making enough. I mean that's intentional. Or folks that are in poverty, that's intentional.
it's
Intentional from where?
intentional. It's
Intentional from
intentional.
where?
It's intentional when you have a government that could make policies
What
and
policy?
pass
To turn us into
policies.
socialists? To turn us into a socialist society?
No,
Is that the
it's
kind of
not.
policy you want? There's a lot
Why?
of policy in
Why
place.
can't this
There is
capitalist?
this
Why can't the capital? So why is it
the
okay? Why are you
welfare
okay with a
system.
capitalist society that says having low income people is good, having poverty is good, having famine is good? Why are
Miss
these things okay?
Miss B, first of all, America has one of the best social net system in the world.
What?
Anywhere in the world. The best social safety net system America has, I would, if not the best, one of the best social safety net system in the world.
No, that is not true. We have
Prove me
one of the
wrong.
best
Prove
social
me,
net
prove,
system. You're
yeah, it
saying
is.
that, and this is what he's saying, folks. When you say that, you say, okay, we have a way to take care of our homeless people, and we have a way. Why is that a
We
part
have
of
a
the
way
system?
to take care of not even we have a way, we do take care of
No,
everybody's in this
no, we
country.
do not. You have a
Okay,
lot. You have
how can we,
millions
okay,
and millions of people
how are we
are
not doing it? How are
dying
we not?
every day on the
What?
streets due to homelessness, dying from famine. We don't have a way to take care of them. You're saying there are little minute things that are in place. You're going to give $5 million to a shelter to create 100 more beds. $5 million to a shelter to create 100 more beds. What could that translate into as far as more income into people's homes? That you don't have to create 100 more beds for homeless people, which 100 more beds is not going to solve the problem when you have 5,000 people waiting for the 100 beds. So that's what you're praising as far as having a good socialist system.
As I said, the best social safety net
That's
system in
what
the
you're
world.
that's what you're praising, having the best social system in the world. No, that can be in place for the people that don't work at all. The people who just gonna be lazy. But that cannot be something the fact that 42 million people are depending on and that's just one of your socialist systems, that 42 million, that's the data for just one of your socialist system. And not talking about how much money we give to food shelves, right? Not talking about how much money we give we give money to the food shelves so they can go and buy the food from the business that sells to food shelves. We have companies that are created just to sell food to food shelves. Poverty is a business. I know we're talking about the business sector, but poverty is a business. It's a business that capitalism continues to
is like
fuel.
you are all over the place today. So is what's your point? Okay. What is
My
your
point
point?
is the shutdown is over.
Okay.
And business, are we really back to business as usual?
Mm-hmm.
Are we better off now that the shutdown is over? It is unfortunate that they use the SNAP. They leverage that. And that's why.
Who did though? Is your Democrats that leverage that?
No.
Because
The
again,
Republicans leveraged we did not ask for a shutdown to happen so that 42 million people can lose their SNAP benefits. No, we did not. We did not.
So how can you guys cave?
And
Because it was
so
8 Democrats that finally said, you know what, enough is enough. We need to work with our Republican colleague to reopen the government. So how can you guys cave? How come the
well, we've
8 Senate
opened the
Democrats cave?
government for another 2 months, which is conveniently after the holidays.
Okay.
January 30th, we have to come back to the table and rediscuss things, right?
If they cannot agree on the remaining funding for the government, right? They have already funded certain part of the government. I mean, SNAP is not going to be affected anymore because SNAP, right, is under the Agriculture Department. Their budget has been approved, and so they are good, right? I don't think airlines will be affected again because I think the Transportation Administration budget was approved as well, so they are good. But there are still certain aspects or certain departments that are still not yet funded for the 2026 fiscal year. Okay.
And which
And
aspects are those? And it's the
well,
healthcare, right?
I mean, first of all, now your make will have to maybe bring a policy expert on here to tell us more about healthcare, right? Instead of just doing it from a panelist level, right? From a panelist standpoint. But the healthcare as a whole, right? The cost of healthcare is going up. I mean, we are right now going through open enrollment. Okay. If you have a employer funded healthcare program, or let's say a healthcare plan, you have either gone through your open enrollment or you're currently going through your open enrollment, depending on your employer when that starts. And your effective January 1st, that's when your new plan starts. Those that get their insurance policy through the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, or through these like Mensure, if you're in Minnesota, they have Mensure, right? It's like folks that get their private insurance through those programs, right? Open enrollment is going on right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And folks that are going on there, they are looking at that policy compared to 2025 policy versus 2026 policy. They are looking at those price tags. It's expensive. That's what the debate is coming in. The Democrats are saying, you know what? They should extend the subsidies. I mean, the subsidies that are given to these folks for another either 2 years or whatever. That's what the sticking point is. And that the
And you're
subsidies
saying,
alone,
no, that's not a good idea.
it's not $300 billion.
And
It's
so
not.
how do
Find a
people
way,
get affordable health care then?
find a way to fix it.
What's the
But like,
solution to fix it?
I mean, I don't. I'm not an insurance expert. I'm not a healthcare expert. I mean, I have told you before whether I mean, I've said it. I think a couple of times on this platform that our insurance system, even on way back when we had a whole segment here that the healthcare system in America is broken. Look, you go to hospital, they don't do nothing for you, but they send you ridiculous bill, right? And there's so many other factors involved in that. People will tell you, I mean, the malpractice insurance, doctors are charging more because as soon a doctor make a mistake, that's why he's going to be sued for millions of dollars. So, and then you have all these health insurance, healthcare providers, the hospitals, the clinics, building like facility like 5-star hotels. Really? Yeah.
But are they not a business? Are they not, don't they have the right in
Why are
this?
you building? Why are you building a hospital like a 5-star hotel?
But why is it
And then
that
you
you
want
want
to
to
charge me,
say,
and then when I go in there, you want to charge me the cost of whatever you use to build your fancy building the ridiculous amount of money you are paying your folks. I mean, why do I have to bear the cost for that?
Because I gotta pay for the building. The building
How's
wasn't
that my
free.
problem?
I
How's
have
that
a
my problem?
mortgage.
Who
It needs
told
to
you
be
to
paid
go?
for.
Okay, who told you to go spend? Who told you to go build a 5-star hotel? I mean, and say it's a hospital. That's what. I mean, that's what it is.
Because it's a business, and the projections and strategy for this business call for us building the 5-star hotel.
So there are so many factors why healthcare is so expensive in this country, and why the insurance companies will have to bear those costs. So I mean, they have to also pass it down to you and I, and I mean, that's what's happening.
Yeah,
Especially I
but
mean,
so you okay, for instance, I support the fact that we have African immigrant owned clinics. Brand new clinic open in Crystal off of Highway 81. It's African.
we should bring those providers on here.
Yes.
How did yeah.
Is it not a business at the end of the day? It's private owned, it's a clinic. Is it not a business?
I hope it's not a 5-star hotel though. So they should charge
Why
me for.
why are you why do you have a see that's the problem with capitalism. It wants to control again. It wants to it's not equal for all, and that's the part I keep getting at. It wants to control who can benefit and who doesn't deserve to benefit. Here it is. Your okay Tesla looking like a 5-star hotel. Like the things that you walk into some of these luxury car dealerships, and I'm like, man, they don't want you to leave, right? The level of service they can give you. You know how Delta has the what is that? The place I can go and wait now before I go catch my flight.
The lounge.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
These Delta lounges. I mean, where was we? Which airport was at? Huge airport. The Delta lounge was ridiculous, man. I could sleep there. It was like at a penthouse suite at one of these hotels. So you're okay with that. You go to a Tesla dealership. You're okay that I feel like I walk into the penthouse suite, right? You're the Hilton. You're okay with that. But there it is, our privately owned, Black owned clinic. You say, oh no, but why do they need to look so luxurious? Why do they need to have state of the art this?
Miss
And
B,
why
I'm not bringing
are
race into I'm not bringing race into the thing. I'm saying providers I mean in general, right? That Mary is saying here, right? Is like you go for a little kid, they charge you ridiculous amount of money.
they are a
These
business?
providers,
They are a
okay, but why
business.
you
They have
well,
employees that
make
need
that
to
make sense
pay,
to me
and
or
they need to pay them livable wages, and they need to provide
make that
health care to
okay.
those employees.
Make it make sense to me just by drawing my blood or just by doing X-ray. You're gonna send me a bill that doesn't make sense.
Make it make sense that you don't value all businesses being
What do you mean we don't
successful.
value our
You
businesses?
don't
What's the
you
value in
don't
there? What are you
value all
charging? Okay,
businesses
you
being
go to the
successful.
hospital. You go to the hospital, right? So now your provider is sitting there. Hey, what's wrong with you today? Is your bone hurting? No. Do you have a headache? But I came here though. I'm telling you, I'm not feeling well. It's your job to tell me what's wrong with me. But you ask me a bunch of silly questions. I leave and you send me ridiculous bill. Make that make sense to me. It's because it was like treat all businesses the same.
Make it
I
make
mean, what
sense
is
that you pay $40,000 for a car that only costs $2,000 to make. Make it make sense that you pay $100 for tennis shoes that only cost $3 to make.
it? It's
Make it
about
make sense.
it.
Again, you guys only want certain businesses to be successful, certain
That's
people to be
that's
successful
that's not true.
under this
That's not true.
capitalist society.
That's
This
not true.
capitalist system only wants to work for certain people. I have nothing against this system if it's going to work for everyone. If we're going to equate it to be successful, I need it to work for everyone. I need to work for all businesses. The same subsidies I'm going to give to, and if you create one job or you create 50 jobs, everybody should receive the same level of subsidies. I have Black businesses that can't afford to employ people. A great start to any business is being able to make sure that you can have employees. So anytime a business come and they want to start, they should be giving operational capital to not just have it for just the one owner to be in that business.
By who?
You want them to have a great start and be you
By who?
want to have everybody to start at the same line when it comes to the race. The only difference in the winner is that they're willing to do a little bit more, but everybody is going to be starting at the same place when it comes to the race. And not all businesses get to start the same.
We
That's
are
the
gonna
point
do.
I'm trying to make. Not
We'll
all
give
businesses
you.
get to start the same.
We'll give you a one-way ticket to go to China and try this and try your advocacy out. How is it working for them?
Japan right now is having a population crisis. They need
Okay,
to,
so
so all the people
would-
living in China need to try and find their way to Japan, because
okay.
Japan is really struggling right now when it comes to, it's like no one has found something that really works. Nobody wants to explore the idea. Maybe we took a little bit from everything and then we create this great thing.
Why
That's
do you
what I
want to
want
take
us to
from
do.
Peter to give to Paul? For what? If I work
I'm
half my
not saying
money,
take from Peter to Paul.
I
I'm
earn my
saying let's look
money.
at what all the
If
all
I
the
work now,
systems,
look, first of all,
socialism,
mm,
capitalism, communism, Marxism. Let's look at all the ism systems and see what's good about them, what's working, and we take all of the good stuff and we make it into a new system that works for all. That
capitalism is the
works
best
for all.
system. It's working. It has no problem. I think you one of the only person because
I'm
you
not
have
one of the only people. I've been in a summit for the last 2 days, and there's thousands of people at that summit, and not just this summit.
yeah, but I mean, it's like
For the last
when I'm saying
13
you're one of
years,
the only
conference
person
upon
because
conference.
you guys are Democrats, right? I mean, you guys are socialists. All you guys
No,
want take from Paul and
no,
give to Peter.
no.
Give this free, give this free, give that free. We need to what? To me, what I believe in, right, is like instead of you giving me fish, teach me how to fish, and let me figure it out on my own. However hard it is, let me
Abraham,
figure it out on
I
my
can
own.
teach you how to fish, but
Uh-huh.
not all lakes are equal. And if you go to the lake and the guy who's been fishing longer than you has taken all of the resources out of that lake, what good is you learning how to fish?
Go to another lake.
That is a real thing, because
Go to
our water
go
and our
to
energy system right now is under attack. You
go
guys
to
are
a, go
AI is killing
go to
our
another
water
go to
system.
another lake. Go to
Water
another
is
lake.
an issue. Water and energy for the first time in our lifetime is looking scarce. So it is a real thing. Water and energy is looking very scarce. What
You
makes
see,
a
so
difference from before? Everything changed now. Miss B, like seriously, you're supporting this new direction. There's crying everywhere for high hospital bills. No, I'm not, Mary. I will never ever encourage
that's what you
high
want. Is that
hospital bills.
these five-star hotels, according hospitals,
But what I'm
telling
saying,
us
Mary, is
ridiculous
that
bill.
we are against the high hospital bill, but we're not against paying too much for a vehicle. You pay too much for your cars, Mary.
It's
Just
a
think about
choice.
it. It
When it
takes you
comes to healthcare,
5 years
it's not a
to pay off
choice.
a
When it
car.
comes to healthcare, it's not a choice. Buying a car is a choice.
You're
Walking
paying
to a
too
dealership
much.
and buying a car is a
We're
choice.
paying too much for these homes, Mary. Just think about how long we have to have a mortgage for to be able to pay it off, and the amount of interest that comes with this home. There's interest in the car you're buying, Mary. There's no interest in your income or the money you make it, but there's interest in the car. There's interest in the home. And then everything you buy is taxed. So everybody is eating money off of your $1 that you work so hard to make, right? And all I'm saying is, instead of you having to live off of that $1, you should have multiple enough dollars to be able to live off of. That's the argument I'm trying to have here.
Okay. Well, folks, tonight, I mean, is I have let Miss B just rant all night about, promoting her socialist system. But
Thank
folks,
you
tonight
for
we have been talking.
indulging me.
Folks, tonight we have been talking about the shutdown. Right, it's over. It ended on the 12th, but there's still a lot of work to do, especially for small businesses. A lot of small businesses during the shutdown. Like the SBA, Small Business Administration, was not giving out loans, billions and billions of dollars was not giving out to small businesses. Some businesses, as Ms. B fairly said, went out of business. Things are not actually back to normal. Air traffic is still trying to get back there. So if you are traveling this Thanksgiving, as you can see here, here in Osaka Park, as we are already in the Thanksgiving spirit. So that
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving,
yeah.
everyone.
So Thanksgiving is next week. So some folks are already making arrangement, travel plans, but air traffic, is not back to normal. If you are driving, there are certain state parks or federal or national parks might not be open. So there's a lot of way the government is not actually, or the federal government is not back to normal. Businesses are not back to normal, especially small businesses, right? These things, it's not benefit. I'm not sure. To your point earlier, that's something maybe I'll have to find out. But I'm not
Yeah,
sure
people
for
have to
who
reapply.
reapply. Okay,
And all the
so
people that got fired are not back to work. This major layoffs did happen, and those people are still unemployed, right? So
mm,
business is really not back to that back. We're not back to business as usual.
So
The 300,000 Black women that are laid off and have no jobs are experiencing the holidays differently this year. So
300 make say more to that because everything you got let to
we'll talk about that next week, Wednesday.
everything you got let to bring in the race card, right?
300,000 Black women lost their jobs and nobody's talking about it.
Okay, well, I mean, losing a job for anyone, will it, especially in a kind of environment we're living right now, losing a job is not fun for anyone.
It's not.
We here, Psychopathia, we don't wish that upon anyone. We know
No.
right now, as I've said it many times, we live in a uncertain environment, uncertain times. Everything's expensive, things are out of control. We talk about that every now and then on this platform, right? It's like we just live in
But
a,
capitalism is successful.
oh yes, always, there always has to be the thing you should know though, right? Things has to be like, I've said it even in private conversation with my friends, and I've said it on this platform. I think the US economy is due for what, a recession. You need a rebalance. Because like number one, asset prices are too high. You were just talking about, as I said, there are houses around my neighborhood. It's like when I hear the prices, I say, "Whoa, really? I mean, who's buying that stuff?" You have interest rate, for mortgages around 6-7%. I mean, that's ridiculous. You have like those that are playing the stock market. It's like, I mean, some of these companies' stock prices are like through the roof, where the
Mhm.
Dow is almost at 50,000. That alone, you to tell you that asset prices are just before COVID, that was around COVID, that was around 18, 19,000. That's so he pretty much telling me it have almost triple.
Yeah.
Okay, it has
Yeah.
almost triple. So what that does is like everything prices have kind of a what, triple. You go
Yeah.
to the grocery store, you buy two things, it's two, $300, $400. If you're gonna fit a card with a family, it's $500, $600.
Yeah.
So I have said it many. So that's why I think honestly we are probably due for some reset.
Yeah.
You know,
I
that's the
agree.
only way. That's
I
the only
agree.
way things.
Maybe that's what I should be asking for, a reset, because the capitalism of the 1800s and 1970s up to
Well,
1987 is not the one we're in
when
now.
I say reset, I'm talking about recession. I'm talking about your kind of reset. Your kind of reset. This is like that.
All
By the way,
right, folks.
this has
Thank
been a
you.
great segment. Miss B was promoting all her social ideas tonight. Which is always fun to watch. Right? She's supporting even the 5-star hotels overcharging us, but that's ridiculous. But anyway, it's a 1 hour show. It's been fun having back and forth with my regular co-host here. So, but Miss B, anyway, your last word as we wrap this up.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is next week. I think we might be taking some time off here next week, Inner Circle. But I just want to say, be grateful. Find things to be grateful for. Be in a state of mind of gratitude, right? Despite the system and all the changes that it needs, be grateful and be in a mindset of great gratitude.
Okay, that's great. Well, yeah, folks, I will echo that. Happy Thanksgiving. We might only be here 2 days next week, maybe Monday and Tuesday. And then we'll let everyone take the long, enjoy turkey. If you like turkey, if you like ham, if you like chicken, just enjoy the meat. But Miss B is vegetarian, so don't call her to your house to eat turkey. She's like or ham or chicken or whatever.
None of the
You,
above. I will not be
you know,
eating
so
it.
so
Yes.
she's good. Yeah, she's good a bit. Those are the people that want to save the earth, right? So she's a vegetarian. But happy Thanksgiving, folks. We'll be back here tomorrow, and most of these topics we are bringing, right? We are working on bringing some experts to expand on them more. We'll bring them here to bring awareness and things like that. But thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. You all have a good night.
All right. Bye bye, everyone.